don't think the AI products have reached even early majority.
Where do you think India is standing in this overall global AI race?
A lot of people discover as they start building AI products is
Stakeholder management getting more complex?
in other products, data is the oil. In AI products, data is the air.
So what is the right posture when a product manager is just starting in their journey of AI product management?
If you are working on a fairly large product, you have a lot of users, you're going to have a slightly easier time transitioning. If you're doing a 0 to 1 product, it's going to be harder.
As a product leader, when you are versus a traditional product versus an AI powered product, what are some of the key metrics that you track to see the success of the feature or the product that is going out? Vikrama Dhiman, he heads all about product, whether it is program, design, research and insights, analytics, and of course the product management team. And when we are talking to Vikram, I couldn't think of any other topic but the hot topic, which is AI product management. So watch out this episode where we unpack layers of what does AI product management means. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and please do send us your feedback. Welcome to this episode, Vikram.
Excited to be here.
All right, and I'm equally excited about the topic that we are going to talk about, which everybody is like, super, I would say there are a variety of emotions out there, right? So Vikram, let's jump right into that, right? Why don't you demystify what is an AI product manager in your thoughts?
I think the best way to look at or understand what's an AI product manager is to go back in time and look at a frame of reference which we all are familiar with. And that is back in 2012 and 13 when mobile was just heating up and there used to be these mobile product managers, right? You don't see them anymore. But at that time, mobile product managers were all the vogue. And the essential thing they highlighted were that mobile product managers know about mobile. They understand the technologies that are used to build mobile apps. They know how to market these apps, and they just understand the overall ecosystem. Same thing happened with data product managers, ML product managers, and so on. And now the latest is AI product managers. And the same thing applies, that these are the product managers who understand the AI landscape. They not only understand how to build products using AI, they know whether AI is going to be the right tool for their product. They know how to market these products, and they know how to work with cross-functional stakeholders, which, like mobile, there were Android developers, iOS developers, which came up. And in this case, AI scientists, research scientists, ML scientists who have come up as well. And one other thing that these AI product managers also do is to build up the overall competence levels in AI across the organization as well. So that is who an AI product manager is.
Yeah, very well said. We have kind of transitioned from a generalist approach to a more specialist approach, right? And that is very well said, right? So one of the questions which is on the top of a lot of product management practitioners' head today is that, what does it mean for us? How do I get there, right? So how does one plan their transitions? Because I've been hearing and working in this space, I think in one form or the other, all of us are already in that path and are going to be AI product managers in some way or other, right? But if one has to accelerate their path in that transition, how does one get there?
I think one thing which I have learned over the last year is that in AI product management, some of the things that we've learned about product management and product development in general have to be reviewed all over again. Okay? So over the last 20 years, we've had this move towards agile software development, faster. How do we turn around things and so on? This concept of MVPs and stuff. With AI products, or at least what we call the classification of AI first products, this changes a bit. This is one big fundamental change, is that it takes time to get these products ready. So you don't get them ready every 2 weeks. You don't get them ready in 2 weeks at all, right? Of course, you can, as I said, there are various versions of AI that you can use as well. So if you're using widgets, if you're using plug and play, you can do that. But if you're building a core AI competence-driven product, it takes more time. So therefore, some of the things which I see a lot of product managers who've gotten used to doing is learn on the fly, figure things out, let's just roll it out. Those things need to be tempered a bit. You need to understand and build your hypothesis very, very strongly. You need to understand whom you are building it for, what you are building for, and how you're going to use AI to make it successful. When we say use AI, what we mean is how you are going to use data to improve the experience. Use data itself has two angles. One is how do you generate that data in the first place? How do you get users or customers to generate that data? And then second is how you are able to consume that data. In the third category, there can be that you don't have users generating the data, but you're getting these data from other sources, say location data, for instance, rain data, for instance, and then how are you able to consume that? That stopping, analyzing, figuring it out is something that a lot of product managers who are starting their AI products miss. And it typically takes them trial and error to figure it out. Okay? If the margin for error, if the cost to development and cost to learn is high, you want to be sure of what you are learning about. That's the very first thing. The second thing which complicates AI products is that AI, like ML before it and most data science products before it, is not deterministic. In an AI first product, you're pretty much going to be testing everything out. So it's very, very iterative in that. What makes it more complicated is the cost of each iteration is very, very high as well. So making these two things together, that you are spending a lot of time figuring out what your customers are looking for, what the business value is, and working with your data scientists or AI scientists on, is it really going to even work? And what will be the cost of this experiment? And what is the probability of this actually working? Tying those things together is what really most of the AI product management is. In addition, you also need to work with your business teams across different business teams, whether it is ops, marketing, and on how you're going to be marketing these products as well.
Yeah, that's right. And that also means that there are fundamentally, there is a slight change in the product development lifecycle itself. With, as you spoke about, the data is taking the center stage, and then there is a continuous learning in terms of monitoring and optimizing your product, the feature. Now, I want to kind of ask a kind of a different kind of question, right? Now, what does that mean? Like, you are a product leader, you've been, through multiple iterations of several products, right? Now, and most of the organization today are looking to become AI first, right? And I think a lot of onus for that lies on the product leaders. So how are you seeing that infusing into the strategy?
So AI products themselves are difficult, but AI product strategy is even more difficult. And what makes it more confusing, and I keep repeating it, is that most product managers barely understand product strategy in the first place. And then when you have to do it for AI products, it becomes even more complicated. Okay? So I have a few tenets that I tell, which helps people discover the AI product strategy. Mm-hmm. Number one is, in other products, data is the oil. In AI products, data is the air. Okay.
Okay.
So that's number one. So if you're not figuring out your data strategy on how we are going to get the data, all the legal considerations around it, and then how we are going to store that data, how we are going to consume that data, there is no AI product. Okay? So that is literally the number one thing. Second thing on this is on the development life cycle itself. It's not like slam, 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 just roll out, just roll out, just roll out kind of a strategy. That doesn't work. Okay? Not yet. Maybe 10 years down the line it will, but it doesn't work that way. So you have to spend a lot of time figuring out the triangle of impact, effort, and value. Value to the customer, impact to the business, and effort of the time it takes to build that thing. And you have to also bake into your life cycle that you are going to have to iterate a lot before you get any results. I've seen not just with AI, even with ML, people get very disappointed that they roll out ML solutions and it takes a lot of time to tweak, a lot of time to figure out what is happening, gather that feedback, and get the model right. And it's only when you've gotten that model right, that is when it starts really working. So those are the two specific aspects that data is air, and you're going to have to iterate a lot. Fix these two aspects, and you will have other pieces of the AI product strategy you will be able to get right.
Yeah, I think I've got a new punchline. Data is the air, new air. Now that makes a lot of sense. And actually that brings me to the next conversation here, Vikram, is that there are a lot of moving parts as we are talking, right? As we are moving from the traditional to the AI way, and there are a lot of uncertainties, there are a lot of unknowns. One of the things which I keep hearing from a lot of product managers is that in such kind of moving target, or there is so much of like learning and hitting and whether it will work or not work, how do you set the expectations with your business, right? Because a lot of time your leadership or your business thinks this is like a magic wand which will start to bring results. So how do you manage, is with an AI product, is stakeholder management getting more complex?
We'll illustrate on the second point, which was the development life cycles. In typical product, the returns are you do a 5% rollout, you do a 10% rollout, then you do a 50% rollout, and then you do a 100% rollout. And at 100% rollout, the returns start coming, and then the returns are largely stable unless you have a place to expand, like you're expanding a country or a region or another user segment. So it's very controlled on, okay, you'll do this and this is the return you will get. The shift in AI products is that your returns are exponential. Okay? So your development is more linear, but the returns are exponential. And why is it exponential? As your data starts improving the experience, as more data starts feeding into your products start becoming better and better, and that's where the return starts coming in. We don't have the tools, or we don't, and whether it is product or whether it is business, the exponential scale is one that we will have to learn how to incorporate into our planning. Okay? Which means we don't know at 3 months what will be the returns. We do know what it probably will be a year down the line. As we start looking at a further down the horizon, we know our experiments would have learned, we would have iterated, we would have improved, we would have adjusted, and things would start improving on our product. So that adjustment is the key piece. Unfortunately, there is no silver bullet over there. For a lot of teams, when we are working on this, understanding that there is an exponential scale is literally the first step you need to take. And then figuring out what time horizon are you looking at and working backwards from that time horizon. That is what I've seen is the most important step you can take.
Yeah, that's true. And kind of start with the baby steps and iteratively, but as you said, looking at it both from a short-term, mid-term, and the long-term horizon, that how do you get that 10x or the exponential growth as you spoke about, right? So is there some kind of a learning path that you recommend, both at a, let's say, middle-level product manager or somebody who's at a more senior product leadership? How should they even get started? Because a lot of time when I'm speaking to product managers, they are kind of not even sure where to start with. So how does one start on this learning path?
So the very first thing to look at is that if you are working on a fairly large product, you have a lot of users, you're going to have a slightly easier time transitioning or incorporating AI because you have a large base. If you're doing a 0 to 1 product, it's going to be harder. It's not impossible, but it's just going to be harder. And that's where, if you will scout out a lot of literature on AI products online, you will see, unless and until your product is an AI first product, starting your product with AI or just sprinkling it with some AI doesn't really do much for your product. Or you're building a customer service bot, etc., where you can feed it some data, it will work. But for others, it doesn't work. So if you are a 0 to 1 product manager, just be aware that it's going to be hard if you are in an existing company. But for a lot of people who are working on products which are mid-scale to high scale, and you have hundreds of thousands of users coming to your product, the next thing that you need to go back to is that first tenant on data is the air, right? Either do you have data in the past that you can leverage? Most likely a lot of these large products already have, right? Then how you can turbocharge that through that data becomes a key. There are then two axes. One is the creation axis, that are you making creation easier, right? Like uploading images, writing content, writing reviews, and so on. Or it is the consumption one, which is you are making consumption a little easier. Okay? So one simple thing is, if you are working on an e-commerce app, you do want reviews, but you also don't want people to be going and seeing all the reviews, because as they will go into the rabbit hole of reading all the reviews, the chances of conversions go down, right? So can we encapsulate and summarize the content, and can we summarize the content in a way in which it best appeals to that particular user? Okay? For instance, when I'm looking for a hotel, for me, gym and breakfast becomes a very important place. So can you just scout it out and just put it right at the top? So these things start becoming important. Again, going back to the value, impact, and effort axis, you will be able to figure out what is it that works and what is it that you can incorporate.
Right. Yeah. Very, very well said. Very well holistically. And with this transition of traditional products to the AI products, the other quotient is that, this is slightly much more complex, right? We are talking about statistics and stuff like that. So a lot of folks, other question is that, do they need to become more technical, right? So what's your take on that?
So another thing which happens with the technology life cycle is, as you move towards the late majority, the tools become much simpler, which means the technical skills that you require, not just to be a product manager, but even to be a business manager in that setup, are lower. So the bar is lower. Right now, I don't think the AI products have reached even early majority. Okay, so which means that the technical skills which will be required to make an impact will be higher. It is still possible to make an impact without really being technically really sound, but the impact that you will be able to create with your team, with your products, will be significantly higher if you understand the technology landscape better. Simply just like, in the 2012 and 13 and 14 era, mobile product management was a very specific niche. People were at that time looking for people who had done mobile product management or understood technology so that they can do those things. The same thing is for AI right now. The good thing is the learning landscape has also improved significantly. I use ChatGPT as my learning buddy all the time. I'm like, okay, I need to pick this up, and even simple things like, go back and understand what is a model, what is a transformer. Like just understanding these things becomes a very important aspect. And how is a neural net different from other methods of machine learning like gradient descent and so on? What is the difference between ML and AI? And you can literally spend time just asking ChatGPT questions, and you can make it ask it to respond in a technically deep way or technically very shallow way so that you can understand and pick that up.
Yeah, very true. And in fact, I think ChatGPT is definitely a great buddy, and I use it all the time for my own needs as well. But that also means, see, right now there are a lot of applications or tools, if I may call, which have come on top of these neural networks, which is huge benefit for us as a co-pilot. For example, if I want to just brainstorm on a ideation phase, or if I want to generate insights from my user data, or if I want to even translate a very low fidelity prototype into a high fidelity prototype. Now, another aspect, and I was, I think, listening to one of the other podcasts, and which says that, the day of a product manager and the kind of activities that they would do, let's say 2025 and beyond, is going to be slightly different than what it is today, right? Especially with this whole agentic AI kind of coming into picture. How do you see that bringing a transformation in the day of a product manager?
So, as you said, the tools will be different, and the changes are already being seen. And typically, also, what happens in a technology life cycle is that the younger folks are slightly ahead of the curve, and so on, right? And this is what I see, that a lot of younger folks, they are using it to write their performance reviews. They are using it to start with, give me a template to do a GTM document, give me a template to do this. In my case, when I was starting, I would have had to spend hours and hours of Google search to figure out which is the right one, then go and talk to a senior and ask them, okay, is this the right way? Not, do you align on the template and so on. Here, they are able to turbocharge all that process through ChatGPT already. And this is just the written format. Even on images, even on creation of videos, even on figuring out, hey, I'm going to do this presentation. What are the things I should watch out for? This is the format I'm looking for. What do you think? Does it work? Does it not work? I'm going to have a meeting with my research scientist. This is the project. What are the things I should keep in mind? And so on. So earlier, the things which you used to be at the mercy of other stakeholders on whether they're giving you the time or they're giving you the time and attention at the right point in your life cycle or not. Now you have a buddy who's available. This buddy can become your guru, can become your coach, can become your guide, can become your friend, can become your critic. You just have to say, as a critic, criticize this presentation that I have built and tell me where it fails, and so on. So, and as I said, a lot more younger people are using it a lot more effectively. But I am also seeing that other product managers over the next year or so, these tools will become a very, very important part.
Yeah, very integral. And you're right. I mean, I learn all the tools about what to use when from my class students or from the product managers. For example, earlier we would take anywhere about 2 weeks to write a PRD. And now with tools like Chat PRD, it's a matter of, I would say, 2 to 3 days, where they are focusing only on certain sections of the entire document, right? So yeah, I mean, it has kind of accelerated. Now, coming to a little bit on the business angle, right? I mean, also with AI products, AI-powered products, the kind of metrics that one tracks, right? So as a product leader, when you are versus a traditional product versus an AI-powered product, what are some of the key metrics that you track to see the success of the feature or the product that is going out?
So here is the good news, that metrics don't change, right? Now, the only watch out is that some of the technical metrics evolve and become more important. So that is the thing you need to watch out for. Okay, if you were looking at building a review website or a review app, you will track number of reviews being done. You will track where the drop in the funnel is. You will track how many reviews per user are happening. You will track what is the difference between new users, existing users, users by different languages, users reviewing hotels versus restaurants, and so on. So those just stay where they are, right? The additional thing you need to look at is like, okay, is a certain version of the model that you are tuning for certain responses doing better than the others. So that tweaking of the algorithm and figuring out what those tests are become very, very important. So it's not just about the UI elements and then a backend logic which is being driven by those UI elements. A lot of what your UI will be is being driven by a probabilistic model. So figuring out what parameters you are tuning and what results is it giving, and then there is no stop. Like you have to continuously keep doing it. Okay? So you'll figure out, hey, the model works really nice for 5-star hotels, but is not working for 3-star hotels. So you have to go back and check. And now you tune it for 3-star hotels, but it should not stop working for 5-star hotels. So that understanding of the metrics, what goes slightly under the hood, but an understanding of what could be happening and what is it that you can try and experiment next is important.
Agreed. And understanding, as you said, while the business metrics don't change, but understanding from a technical metric perspective is a very important aspect. So while we are watching out for these metrics, right, I think, and given a lot of uncertainty and the probabilistic nature of an AI-powered product that you spoke about, how does one land upon, let's say, a problem solution fit or a product market fit for a early stage product?
Yeah. So the key is to figure out how you're going to use the data, right? So data generates data is literally the core theme of AI. That axis you have to figure out. Okay? Until and unless you figure that axis, you can still use AI for things like customer chat. You can use it for help desk and so on, where it will help speed up a few processes for you. But it's not typically something which is very consumer focused or something which is core to your flows. If you're building something which is core to your flows, it has to be around data generates data. So figure out that is the key. And that data doesn't necessarily have to be something which is created in a written format or in a visual format or in a motion format, right? It can even be in a format of clicks. Okay? So for instance, if you are a recommendation engine, whether it is for e-commerce or for a video site or for a music site, hey, we started recommending this, are the clicks happening? And those clicks or those taps become an input as well. So you are generating data based on that as well. Are people listening longer? Are people viewing longer? Are they clicking on the recommendations that we are making? Are they clicking on the ads that are being generated and so on? So that's also the data. But if you are not able to quantify that data feeds, data axis, it becomes very difficult for you to figure out whether this problem really is an AI problem or not. Okay? So that is the key. Even for customer chat and all, you will figure out that there will be queries that AI is very good at responding, but then there are queries which are being escalated to the manager or to the human person. So figuring out what is it and what data that it is. And in that case, your data is probably generated by a few people who are mimicking the queries or are looking at the queries which have been done, and then the responses which are being done by a help desk professional and so on, right? So figure out that data generates data axis, and where the axis is clear, where you are able to define or how you are able to define, you get the problem fit better.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, if I have to summarize, like be very laser focused on what your users are telling, what is the data telling you about, garnering the insights, and that goes in terms of iteratively building on that.
Yes.
Perfect. Now, with this, I want to kind of double down on this whole data part, right? I mean, I think, first of all, I think understanding data to be able to contribute to the data strategy of an organization is going to be one of the key skills for a product manager in an AI-first world, right? But the real challenge, Vikram, is that either there is not enough data, the data is not being captured, or the data is kind of sitting in silos. Like yesterday, I was reading one of the use case from the Airtel CIO or CDO. He said that they have 900 business units and the data is completely in silos, right? So in data quality and other aspects. So now here, I would love to understand your perspective. What is the role that a product manager can play so that they are able to really power it and move forward?
So I think the biggest impact that you can have in a situation like the one you described is to make data accessible, right? And data accessible for products to be built on top of that. So therefore, that becomes a product in itself. Large companies typically will invest in a data setup, whether it is a data warehouse setup, data pipeline setup, data product setup as well. So having that team, having that not just a product manager, but the entire team together looking at that and making data accessible becomes a problem in itself and with a large impact for the future. Now you can take a slightly iterative approach to it in a traditional setup, or you can do a very large scale turnkey project. Each situation is different, and different organizations have done different things with different results.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I love the way where you said, right, that there is an opportunity out there where your data itself might become a product, right, which is catering probably to start with maybe internal stakeholder, and then maybe in a longer time, this could become a revenue stream itself, maybe, right? Yeah, no, I think that that kind of makes a lot of sense. Now, the other aspect over here is that we spoke about how the technicality that a product manager needs to know, and of course, the product manager is working with some really smart people like the the data scientist or the ML engineers and all that. So, is there a change in the posture for a product manager? Because you probably have some insight, you definitely know the business, you definitely know the customer, but you are probably still ramping up on the whole data side of things. So what is the right posture when a product manager is just starting in their journey of AI product management?
If you've had technical background or you are investing in the technical background, then it's a very different journey. If you don't have a technical background, then it's a very different journey. In either case, you will have to ensure that research scientists, whether they are ML, AI, data, are a key part or a key stakeholder for you in your cross-functional team. That's one big change. Okay? And as you will work with them, you will also understand how those products are built, how the development life cycle for them is, and so on. So that is one key change. The second change that you will have to do is that you will have to train and coach the rest of the organization on how these products are built and how we have, and working with them in building up frameworks, in building up structures, and in building up how to evaluate impact for these products.
I think it's a journey that everybody has to onboard, and there is a constant amount of hand-holding and very close collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a technical background, you must spend your first year like getting on board on the technical side a lot more.
Yeah, getting into that rabbit hole a little bit is definitely required. Now, another question I have for you is that you have operated out of India for a very long time, and now you are building you are part of a product which is used very, very largely in the Southeast Asia. Now, in general, I wanted to ask your perspective. Where do you think India is standing in this overall global AI race?
On the applications and the use cases that we can use, the fundamental technology like cloud, I think is something we need to do better on. So I do hope that we have multiple LLMs with large scale adoption coming from India and Southeast Asia. There are some which are in the works, whether it is in the research labs, universities, or even commercial setups. That is one piece I think I hope we see more of.
Yeah, I mean we've been hearing some of them coming, especially in India itself. Like with 20 national languages. There is a huge opportunity out there, and there are things in progress. But yeah, we are definitely the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. So we definitely need to lap up all the opportunity that we can in this space. Yeah. Okay, with that, I'm going to get into the next section, which is the rapid fire. One AI myth that you would like to debunk.
It's a silver bullet that you can just plug on to your products. It is not. There are a lot of plug and play use cases which have come up. Customer chat is one of them. But if you really are interested in building AI first products, it's a lot of hard work.
Completely. The most underrated AI use case in B2C.
I think a lot of people focus a lot on consumption and how to make consumption faster, better, personalized. But a lot of, I think the focus in the next few years will be on the creation part as well. So for instance, if you are a music website, then on the playlist creation. If you are a video website, then on how the comments are being created and written and tagged to respective sections of the video. So creation will be even more important going forward.
What's your favorite PM tool?
AI or otherwise?
AI.
Yeah. For AI, it definitely is ChatGPT because it's also the tool that I've become more familiar with. And now you can use it for a variety of different things as well. Yeah. I haven't used Chat PRD yet, but hopefully one day.
Okay, wow, that was like a power-packed last 40 minutes all about AI. And thank you so much, Vikram, for making it here. It is really a pleasure to have you cross countries to be here with me in person. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.